What's up? This is DJ Royal, and welcome to Complicated Conversations.
Hey.
Hello.
I am here with Roslyn, aka Roz, and Amanda. Hey, say hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
I don't get an AKA though. No.
What is your AKA name?
What's my AKA, Roslyn? Let's
Manda,
just discover this
Mandy.
right now. Oh yeah, people call me, so like my friends in London, they call me Mans.
Mans.
Yeah, like M-A-N-D-Z.
Mans.
Z.
Mand.
Right.
Okay. Why is okay? I got.
It's just
I
short,
got.
like,
I
they'll
got it.
just
I
be
got
like,
it.
"What's
They
up,
take the
mans?"
they take the A out.
Yeah, like that. And then a lot of people that know me, they just call me Manda. Like it's just regular. They just drop in that A. Like
They just don't like that A, huh?
they
that
are
first
just
A.
dropping
Manda.
that A.
AKA Manda.
That's it. So yeah,
All right. So
that's my anchor.
you know, we're in New York City today.
Yeah.
How y'all feeling? Like, well, what's going on? What's new happening right now? Roz is eating a delicious sandwich, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this week's been a busy one. I travelled. I actually just got back into town this morning.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you come from?
I was in Toronto, Canada.
What were you doing there?
Oh, did you see Drake?
I did not see Drake, and I haven't seen him once in the 2.5 years that I've lived there. So
because I heard he's hiding out. He was hiding from Pusha T.
Oh shit, yeah.
probably
And the baby.
Oh yeah. He got the baby hiding in
I'll
the
be
basement
hiding
too.
It's probably hiding somewhere in the northern parts of Canada. You know, Canada's huge.
Yeah, because he doesn't want that smoke.
No, not at all. Yeah, I was there. I went back to visit because I've been away for a while on sabbatical, and caught up with some of my friends. I was just there for like 3 days. Caught up with some of my friends, and it was nice. It was nice to see them. It was nice to hang out, and you know, it was okay to be back. Like I'm gonna keep it real. On the complicated conversations.
Well, tell me, was the air crisp up there?
It was definitely crisp. The weather wasn't as, I mean, I know over here it's been a bit up and down, but the 3 days that I was there, yesterday wasn't bad. But the first 2 days were a bit like, it was cold. It was cold, so I was like, oh, okay, get me back.
Well, it might be that, you know, you never know in the next day or two in New York.
Yeah, it was probably warm. I mean, it was probably warm today, but of course I left like early this morning. You know, the flight isn't that long. It's like 45 minutes, so.
It's that long? I thought it was like a half hour.
Well, yeah, it depends on how much the wind's blowing, but
That's true.
It's literally between 30 to 45 minutes, even though they advertise it as an hour and a half.
Damn, Chicago.
But they
wind.
do that to make, you know, life easier for them.
So Roz, complicated conversations.
Yeah.
Tell us about your time in Canada and why you're kind of like, it was okay.
So my
'Cause-
time.
Wait, so one thing I always find, like, as a foreigner, when you go somewhere and you're kind of like, oh, this place is dead. Like, Roslyn spent 2 years over there and she's still preaching like, Canada's dead, bruv. So I'm like, okay. But like, my thing is, how the fuck do people live there? Like, it can't be dead. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand.
Okay.
So I need you to explain.
Yes,
Let's get
definitely explain
complicated
that.
because
Okay.
I'm confused.
So me and my friend, I happen to have a lot of, I'm saying I have a lot of British friends there, but I have 3 in total. Okay. One moved back to England in March, so I've got 2 left there.
Okay.
And Canada, I'm sorry to say, sorry, not sorry. But basically, we had this discussion on Tuesday where you're a Londoner, right? Or, you know, you're from New York City. Well, you've been living in, you're from New York City.
Yes.
When you've lived in a city like London or New York City and you move to Toronto, which is a city,
right?
It's just not the same. It doesn't live up to the expectations of living in London or New York City. Yes, Toronto is a city, but again, and I'm sorry to say, it's kind of like fake busy. You know, like everyone's hustling to get on the subway. Like even the subway line, there's 2 lines, which they can barely manage. And it was actually Andy.
That's why they had to bring man from England,
right?
To try and turn up the things.
Who was managing it, and now New York City's poached him, so he's going to be managing the MTA. So, yeah, my time in Canada has been... The first year was great. I moved there in March 2016. It was nice. You know, you're discovering. It's new. It's an adventure. You're making friends. You're branching out. You're coming out of your comfort zone because... I was born and raised in London, England, lived there all my life. My family's still there. I still have friends there, thankfully. And, you know, the first year in Canada, in Toronto, was great. But it was very difficult. Career-wise, it was difficult finding a job in general, not just, you know, what I'm doing, which is, you know, radio. It was just hard finding a job, period. That for me was a major issue because, you know, I had left a good job at the BBC in England and moved to Canada, which was my choice.
Right.
But to go from working in this amazing job and role that you'd been in for 8 years and move to a country where you can't even just get a job, it can be disheartening and discouraging. And I tried to kind of think about that fact because I wondered if I was allowing that experience or that thought to overshadow the fact that, you know, Canada's a great country. You know, I'm getting to experience something different. Not many people can do this.
Right.
You know, like I need to be grateful.
But you trying to get it lit because, you know, with all that gratefulness, you still got to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Praise the Lord.
That's right. So there's a lot that I remember saying to me and my friends, okay, we got to like do something because like nothing is happening here and it just seems, you know, dry. If, you know, dry just means boring. And I feel like, I guess, like, just sorry to say, like, I just feel like, okay, if you're born and raised there, great. You know, I think you're used to the dynamics of how basically nothing much goes on. But like I said, someone like me that, okay, well-travelled shouldn't have anything to do with it. But someone like me that, like I said, is coming from London, I do like to travel a lot and experience different things and not just go into clubs and bars, like just, you know, being a tourist, like becoming like I'm living in, you know, this city or village or what have you. But over there, I would say that a lot of my social time was just going to a simple restaurant or just walking. And maybe there is more to it, but I can honestly say that I try to see. I just feel like no one comes out. Everyone's just at home. Like not many people are doing anything. And I know a lot of people that are listening would beg to differ and be like, no, how can you say that? You must have been in the wrong places. Where did you go? But that's just my experience and I stand by it. Sorry.
Well, you know something? It seems to me that Aubrey Graham, right, was, you know, telling the story, and also Tory Lanez was telling the story of this great place called Toronto. And not to say that Toronto's not a great place,
sweetie.
Right? Yeah, but it seemed like all they got to offer some Raptures, they got some Blue Jays.
Yeah.
And they got some, no, I don't think they do the maple syrup there.
They do.
Oh, they do the maple syrup there too? They got the trees? They got the trees? Okay, so they do the syrup there in Toronto. And that seems like about it, you know, like, you know, a little bit of the weekend. Yeah, there's a weekend there.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Alyssa.
Okay, yeah, I'll give Bieber the pass. I'll give Bieber his props.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
But when you get down to the you know, the crux of it all, it seems that, you know, the Blue Jays and the Raptors are in a league, are both in leagues that are based in the United States.
Yep.
You got a major pop singer, Aubrey Graham, who is down based in Calabasas, California.
Yep.
Right? I don't know
Justin
where Bieber is. Wherever Bieber is.
He's somewhere in America.
He's somewhere, yeah. And the weekend seemed like he's somewhere in America too.
Oh, yeah, they all are.
And Tory Lanez, I think he's just like...
I feel like he's somewhere in New York.
He got arrested. Sure. He seemed like he got arrested somewhere in the United States. It might have been Florida. So I guess he's in America too.
You know?
So, well, he's Bayesian, so I'll give him a little pass. He's Bayesian. Just like me. Okay. So
he's representing.
At the end of the day, it seems like that town, not to take anything away from it, but it's not lit. It's just not lit. Like,
but here goes the thing, though, Royal.
Okay.
What is lit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that all of this quote
have
unquote
you been
lit,
to Manhattan?
Hold on. Yes, I have. Yeah, it's lit up because there's loads of buildings and the lights and stuff. That electricity bill, like, Manhattan is really caking off of people right now.
It's lit though.
Like, yeah, okay. But I think a lot of it goes back to culturally and socially what we are used to.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm talking from a perspective of me coming from London to New Jersey. Not even to New York, to New Jersey.
New Jersey's
I'm right
lit.
next door. But I'm right next door to New York, right? So when I first came, I was like, oh my God, this is so foreign. Like, I felt some type of way because I'm like, oh my God. You know, I've never had to look up a time of the bus ever. You know, the streets are clean. It's just very quiet. I might wanted to get a piece of chicken at like, you know,
2 a.m.
No, not even 2 a.m. at like 11:30.
That's
and
closed.
and I'm like, wait, what is actually going on? This was just all new news to me.
Well, what city in New Jersey?
I lived in Cliffside Park, and mind you, that's a 15-minute drive to Upper Manhattan. Okay. So I'm like right there, or like a 25-minute drive to like 42nd Street area. So I'm still lit. Like, I'm right in the middle of everything.
Right.
But it's just so foreign to me. It was foreign. Like, I came from a place where I just walk out in the street. I don't even need to look on my phone to see what time a bus is coming, because guess what? Bus is pulling up every 2 to 3 minutes.
Listen,
they're pulling up. I'll just bop to the train station. I don't need to look up no time because the train's pulling up every couple of minutes.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, London is a major metropolis, and and everything around it is what you drive from to, so you can get that chicken that you want to at 11:30.
No, I just think, don't get me wrong, obviously every country and city is different. Right. So like I'm saying, I think for me, and Amanda even, going from living somewhere like London to then moving to, you know, Cliffside Park, New Jersey in America, Toronto in Canada, it's just kind of like taking a step back, I guess, in terms of kind of like civilization and I guess things that you're used to. Like, for example, you want to go out and come home and be like, okay, like we're going to go to the chip shop and get some food because we've, you know, had a great night. We're hungry. We've danced the night away. Maybe we had too much to drink and we want to soak it up. But like she's saying, in both, you know, cities or, you know, states, basically everything's closed at a certain time. And I lived downtown for a year as well, and I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm right downtown. I'm near everything. I mean, it was great, but it still didn't change much. The only beauty of it is that it didn't take me as long as it previously did to get home. Right. But it was just it still remained the same, where there was, there was nothing to do.
Well, let's talk about the pluses, because, okay, so here's the pluses of living in quote unquote suburban areas of a major metropolis, because the Cliffside is definitely a suburban area of New York City, just like Westchester for all you New York City people. And I got it. Look, I'm in the Bronx, so I know that it's hard. Like, at least my residence has a parking lot and garage, but when my people come through to visit me, finding parking is like hell, because that's how the city is built. Check. So when you go to suburbia areas, like they just drive right into their driveway. Yep. That's it. That's what you do. So you drive into your driveway, you're good, and you don't have to pay for like overnight of, I don't know, what is parking like now in New York is, I don't know.
Expensive.
$25 a night or some craziness like that. I don't know.
Hold on, is that crazy? That's cheap. The other day, I pulled up for work. They paid for it, okay? I literally was parked for, I want to say 4 hours. $67. $67 for 4 hours. Anyway,
that is
go ahead.
unreasonable. You know what you could do with $67? Like, that's not even a lot of money, but with that, you could, well, I mean, it's not a lot of money in comparison to, you know, how life really is. But yes, with $67, yeah, I could do a lot. I can go half of food shopping with that. Half for the week.
Half.
I can get actually, I did that the other day. I went grocery shopping at the grocery store. I'm not going to say any names. And I literally bought about $65 worth of groceries. And I had
How many bags did you have?
I had 2 large bags. Large
Is that
bags.
all?
Right.
Yeah, no, but the bags
But
are
he's
large.
emphasizing large.
He's right. We're not small bags. Let's just get that straight. Like,
got all
we're not
the
talking about like some
stuff.
plastic bag. We're talking about like you know, like a big 2 large bags where they had to double the bag because there was so much stuff in it.
Oh, I know. It's
Yeah,
tall.
and yeah, it was lit. So it might have been a little cheaper than $65, but whatever it was, it was really good, and to pay for parking for that same amount is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know,
I
for all
agree.
the food that I got. Like, just saying.
Like food or parking.
Right.
You decide.
Right.
I'm just going to turn this conversation up a notch, right?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We're just going to swerve right to the left.
Swerve.
Black people in the workplace.
Ooh.
Yeah. Black people in corporate America.
What
black
about
people.
us?
So, do you feel like there is a ceiling or a glass ceiling for black individuals once they enter a workplace?
It depends on the industry.
Okay, so since it depends on the industry, what industries would you say there is no ceiling?
There's always a ceiling.
So why do you feel that there's a ceiling? Would you say there's always a ceiling because of the color of our skin? Because we're being judged based on that? Or there's just a ceiling based on, do you think it's like performance, like individual performance?
It could be a little bit of both. It could be a lot of both. I don't ever think that the ceiling exists because of one thing. Because, okay, for instance, you can go to let's say a firm, a law firm, right? And you can see the associates of that law firm, and it could be a mix of different people from different ethnicities. And that's just the way it is. Now, of course, that is what you see now in America. Like, you really do see that now. But I can't say that's
Not just
what you
America.
always... Well, yeah, right. Not just America, but, you know, a lot of Western world countries. That's still kind of new. That you would actually go to a firm, a law firm to be exact, and see different ethnicities as the top associates of a company. So that means that person did work their way up to being an associate to that company, which is a hard thing. Board of directors, same thing. But then you got other industries where it's like, yeah, we're gonna give you this management role, and you're just gonna stick with that. You're gonna stay on that. Just hover on that for like about 40 years.
So have you been in that? Like, yeah, let me give you this lollipop to suck on.
Wow.
Don't bite it, just suck on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
40.
But so have you ever been in that position where you've been offered like,
Nope.
you know, a quote unquote fake promotion just to try and shut you up?
No, I won't even call it fake promotions. I would say that these people have real promotions. But there is
But I
definitely
mean,
a
in
ceiling.
terms of elevation, like you're not in a position where you would want to be. So I guess also like if you find yourself in a position where you don't want to be in life, what would you do?
You got to change the situation.
Gotcha.
You have to. I don't see any other way.
Because I'm just thinking about like the company I work for.
Mm-hmm.
the average tenure there, this is just average based on the number of people in the company, which there's 17,000 employees.
I hope it's like 7 years.
It's 12 years, right? That's the average tenure between over 17,000. Now, I'm going to go back to when I first got hired and the tenure of the people in the group, okay? So we had one 25 years. Another one started in 1985. Another one's been there 28 years. And then another one had been there like 15 years or what have you. So immediately I was just like, wow. Now, mind you, these are all black people.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, wow. But I just kind of felt, as I walked in that room, I felt complacency. I felt that energy. And I think not what scares me, because I know me as an individual, but I think what happens to some of us black individuals, we get into companies that we think are like good, reputable companies to be working for. And we look on stability, which is great. I think it's important to look on stability. However, whatever happens to, like, I think once we find stability, sometimes ambition goes out the window.
Yeah, we get comfortable.
And, you know, it scares me to see that, because I'm not that type of individual. You know, like, I did the other day. So I'm just on LinkedIn and I'm like, oh, I could do this job, right? Mind you, I'm pretty comfortable, like, where I am. I applied for the job just because I just wanted to see. Do you know, in an hour, I got an email back from a recruiter of the company.
Nice.
Hi, Amanda, we're very interested in your background, blah, blah, blah. We'd like to speak to you more. Can you please send me a copy of your resume? Okay. So I didn't do it. I never sent her the copy of my resume. I did reply to her email or whatever. And I was trying to set up like some time to chat with her, but then I never heard back. But my thing is, like, you have to constantly be on your toes in this world in general. And I said to Roslyn before that I realized that sometimes when that we don't, especially as black people, I think it's kind of like instilled in us not to not know our worth, but a lot of us do not know our worth. So you always have to put yourself in a position, this is just my experience, that you always have to seek for more than what you actually think you're worth.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you only attain what you manifest. And I think it's just very important. And this is why it takes me back to, like, black people in the workplace and, you know, climbing up the ladder and being in, you know, certain positions, like levels. You know, I always question it, like, is it us as a race, you know, that we just become too complacent because this is maybe what we're kind of used to. We're used to getting to a certain point, even just coming out of slavery, like, all right, we made it to this point, like, hooray.
Right.
But this is it, like, we're comfortable here. Let's just, like, coast here for a bit. But, like, is it okay to coast?
Well, I'll say this, like, you know, obviously I can only talk about the American experience.
Mostly mine is American experience, because that's where most of my work experience comes from, America.
This goes into a history. And in this history, one thing that I observed is there are parents or, you know, people before myself who once they were actually given the green light to be able to do certain jobs, let's say work at the post office, for instance, they know off the bat they're gonna milk the years on that because of what you can get at the tail end of it. Oh, this is a good job, quote unquote. This job will give me a pension at the end. I will be able to buy a house, have a vehicle, make sure my kids are clothed and fed, and they can go to college off of my salary. Okay? So you don't leave that job, right? You just do that. So then the parents, okay, will say, you have to get that job. So what are these jobs? Let's list them. any type of government job, okay, whether it's city or federal, the medical field. This is why you see a lot of even West Indian people from the Caribbean, who will go beeline to being nurses, and then they'll tell their kids, you got to be a nurse, blah, blah, blah.
But what happened to being a doctor?
Aha, but which is what I was going to get to. Which right, but that's the point. It's like, the focus is getting this good jobs, needed jobs. Not to say that these jobs are not important, because yes, they are. But like you said, the stretch to go to another level is not something to achieve. It's not something to be to grasp for. Just get that safe thing that you're gonna float along. You're gonna be safe. You're gonna be safe. You're gonna be good. You get that. You become a nurse, or you become a good administrator at this hospital, or you be a postal person. You do that mail for about 25 years, and good. You're good. Everything is good. Everything's gonna be great. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna have a good life. That is the thing that is taught. Understandably, it's taught, because think about where we've come from.
But my thing is, I don't ever care what anyone does, right, in terms of work.
Right.
I will never judge someone on like what they do. Okay, this one's a lawyer, this one's a street cleaner, whatever. My thing is...
A street sex worker.
Maybe. I'm not... That's not going to apply for a street sex worker, but maybe it can, what my forthcoming comment's about to be. But I think that it's just very important to, wherever you are, even if you've got your foot in the door and you're okay with that, number one, you should always not be comfortable being comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
And number two, whatever your job is, you need to strive to be the best at that.
Right.
So not just that job, but like continuously, if you're in a company, oh shit, like what's the next step for me from here? Like, what can I do next? Think about like, who's my manager? Someone has to be managing you.
Right.
Unless you're a CEO, there's someone managing you. And even when you're a CEO, you must have a sponsor, not a manager. A sponsor is someone that advocates for you, not a mentor, because that's different to having a sponsor.
Well, here's a study. You ready?
Yes.
What are most of the jobs that exist in the world?
What are most of the jobs that exist? Couch potatoes. That's free.
Small company jobs. When you have a lot of that, you got to ask yourself, who owns the small company jobs? And the people who work for the small company, how far can they go?
Right, because with small companies, and that's another thing. So like dealing with a lot of family-owned businesses as well, I quickly learned that these people want to keep it in the family, first of all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They are not trying to hire Joe from 110th Street to manage their company when they've got their son that doesn't even have a background or some kind of education, who they're going to just train up to be like, you know what, Billy,
he's
this is the
qualified.
best. Right, this is yours after me type thing.
Right.
But my thing is, it's about building a relationship with those people, because what happens is you need to use people. The first time I heard this, I was like, this person's crazy about using people to your advantage. Initially, I'd be like, oh, like they're a user, blah, 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 blah. No. When you're in a workplace or a work environment, even if you have certain friends that are around you that are doing things that you might even have an interest in, you need to constantly pick people's brain to find out like, okay, what are they doing? How did they get there? What can I do? Blah, 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 blah. But I think it also goes back to a level of ambition. Like, even if I worked for a family-owned company and I took an interest in it, you know what I'm doing? I'm watching to see every little step that you're doing, because I'm about to slide out of here and just remodel, maybe, but see where the gap is, like see what I can do better, and maybe do the same thing and be my own boss. But being that we're black, I think that we do have a unique thing about us, because people do want to support black-owned businesses. Yeah. Blacks want to support blacks. So that's why I think that, yes, you're working for a family-owned company, but learn what you can learn.
Right.
Take advantage of that opportunity, because it's an opportunity at the end of the day.
Well, I would also say this. We should, as people, and I think everybody, like, it's not just us as Black people, but when you create a business, it's a service or you're selling goods, you should always strive to be the best you can. You should always look at competition, and you should always want to be better than competition. That has nothing to do with the shade of your skin or anything like that. You should always want to do great. And if it just happens that you are Black, then I really don't think the customer's going to care too much that you're Black. They're like, okay, well, this person got the best prices or the best goods, does it the best. So yeah, I'm going to buy into that. That's how your mindset should always be when doing anything. And, you go from there. But first, just be as great as you can be, outside of being Black. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest, I don't care who really sells me the thing. I just want the good one.
You don't care.
No.
Now you don't.
No.
But I will say that sometimes we do want to support our own, but in the same breath, our own always let us down. Yeah, we don't care, but we don't care because we haven't been provided with that level of whatever it is we're expecting, even price-wise. I can even say in London, like, there's two types of Black shops, hair shops, right? You have the Black-owned hair shop.
That's everywhere.
Okay. And then you'll have the Chinese man or the Indian man that's selling you back your own products. They don't need to use that shit for their hair. But guess what? Who are we buying the products from? The Chinese man or the Indian man? Why? Why? Because you go around the corner and a Black woman selling her hair gel for $4.99 when meanwhile the Indian man selling it for $3.99.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we also need to know about how to be competitive. And I think I find for myself, it's a common thing amongst Black businesses. We're competing with each other for whatever reason, I don't know, when we should be competing with really our competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we don't do that at all. Like, we don't do a good job of competing well or even equally with our competitors. If the Chinese man's selling it for $3.99, right, and you're thinking, oh my God, well, I bought it at $3.50. You know what? Sell it for $3.75.
Yep, that's all it takes. 10 cents cheaper, maybe even 5 cents cheaper. It doesn't even have to be that deep.
Low numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about the numbers.
Exactly. But no, we always think about, but I need to make a profit. Like, if I buy this for $10, I need to sell it for $20 because that's what it's worth. But it doesn't matter about what it's worth. It matters about what kind of foot patrol you're going to get in your door. Especially if you're new, you need to get your people in first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, something, whoever's listening to this on the comment box, please tell us if you have ever sold anything, if you've been a small business or anything like that, and tell us what is your experience on how do you defeat the competition? How do you get people to your business? Drug dealers don't need to apply. Anyway, so what are your thoughts, Ross?
Yeah, I was going to say, back to, you guys probably answered 5 different questions. So I'm going back to, the first question Amanda asked. So I think there is a glass ceiling for us, generally and personally. Unfortunately, I can honestly say that as a people, we're great and we do work hard and we do strive for the best. But unfortunately, people do want to keep us at a certain level. They don't want us to progress, even though they see that there is progression. It's happened to me before, and it was, it was difficult because I was a hard worker. I didn't slack at all. I can honestly say that. And I tried. I spoke to the right people, tried to see how I can progress. And because I'm the type of person that once I master something, okay, what's next? Like, what else can I learn? What else can I do? Where else can this go? As opposed to just being, oh, I know how to do this, so I'm going to just stay doing it. Like, no, I want to learn something new. I want to learn something else. Yes, I can say generally for... Sorry. Yes, I can say generally for many different cultures, you know, they do remain stagnant in the same place, comfortable.
Yes.
I would say for anyone that wants to try and get comfortable, it's like, no, like once you feel you're getting comfortable, you need to either learn to move on or try something new or speak to someone. And again, if you're in a company or a job or whatever where they're not allowing you to progress, you need to leave, because like Amanda said previously, you need to know your worth. Because personally, I can say that I spent a number of years in a certain job where even though I was able to do multiple different things, there wasn't really much progression. Like in the period of time that I was there, I wouldn't say that I massively was able to progress as much as I know I could have and as much as I know I should have.
Is the progression actually there? Could you see it? Or
oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I could see it, I could feel it. I had spoken to multiple people about it and I was actually being avoided. I literally was like, okay, can we talk about X, Y, and Z? And they were just like, yeah, sure. Nothing.
Yeah, I think that we should definitely call them out on it from now on.
Yeah.
You know,
that's another thing.
If you're being ignored, say, listen, I've been ignored and I've done X and Y is happening. And it's like, why?
Yeah, just to make them aware. I mean, you know, I guess in my situation, I knew I was being ignored and it was annoying. And I guess the reason why I didn't call the person out is because I guess I wasn't in the right frame of mind, because I was actually quite angry, I would say. Not even upset, I was angry. I was annoyed. I was basically not happy with the way that I was being treated. So had I called her out, it probably wouldn't have ended very well. So I'm glad that I chose to move on. I didn't stay there. I literally made a decision. It was very difficult, where I was like, okay, it's time to go. My worth isn't being appreciated. I'm working so hard. Well, I'm going to take this work ethic somewhere else to someone that is going to appreciate me. Well,
let's stop working hard and start working smart.
Yeah.
Because working hard is seem to be a failure. Not that it's a failure. Let me get that straight. It sometimes it's not the way to go. You know, the way to go. Sometimes you have to work a little smart. And you have to make sure your resume is always updated. Always.
Cha-ching.
Yep. And knowing your worth, as Mika Brzezinski said, is everything. You must know your worth. Especially ladies, you must know your worth. Because
in all aspects of life, not just career-wise.
Right. So if you're, if you're husband, ladies are not knowing your worth, you could just holler at me. But anyway, so
are you advertising right now?
No.
Seriously.
Just joking. So
you better be.
What is the moral of this story?
The moral of the story is don't get caught with your pants down. Always have your resume ready. So when it gets asked for, you're ready to drop that in that inbox 2 minutes after it gets asked for.
True.
That's right.
So do not get caught with your pants down, and also know your worth. Sometimes we don't know our worth. I think it's our experiences that help us to know our worth.
Right.
And, sometimes we can't even put a figure on how much we think we're worth. And that's fine too. But it's all about research. Like, things are not a secret anymore. Salary being one of them. There is a website, if you didn't know, it's called glassdoor.com.
Yeah.
Right.
Do not get caught being underpaid, because you can go on that website and it gives you free information based on salaries that real people who have worked at these particular companies have punched in based on your location. Right. So when you're going to go in to negotiate, Now you know, okay, let me start here because this seems on average like what Glassdoor says that it pays or whatever it is.
For that role.
Yeah. So, you know, do your research. Don't just take what people are going to give you because, listen, I'm not perfect, but I've done it. I've done it twice already. Just taking what people have given me. And then I get in and I'm like, wait, this person's earning this, this, and this. And I'm doing this and this and this. And you start to feel upset and angry. But it's no one's fault but your own because you didn't negotiate from the jump.
Or do the research.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So do not get caught with your pants down. Moral of the story. Pants down in every aspect.
I would say basically don't settle. Like go for the top of the top. And if you know that either A, they're not allowing you to get there, or B, that you've mastered it, like do not be afraid to move on. Do not be afraid to try something new. And I think, you know, a lot of us can get comfortable, especially if there's something we're enjoying. It seems easy, you know, it's the money's okay, like you're able to get by it, pay your rent, socialize, pay your car note, this, that, and the third. But I just think that it's important to, like we've said many a time, know your worth and what you're doing. Don't get discouraged. And I say this because I did. For a hot minute, it almost made me feel like, you know, I wasn't worth what I was doing. But then I realized that, hold on, like, you know, they were using you for free. Like every time someone new came, it was like, okay, Roz, you're going to train them. Okay, what am I getting for doing this? Like, what? Right. I'm just doing it for free. So know your worth. Don't get complacent. Don't settle. If they're not allowing you to grow within that job or within that role, then let me tell you something. You need to be ready to move on.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, you ladies said it best. I agree. You definitely should know your worth. Definitely do not be afraid of confrontation when it comes to your pockets, your livelihood, because that's basically what you are selling to them. You're selling your work, so they should be able to pay you what you're worth. And the other moral of the story is Toronto's not lit. New York or London is.
That's it.
And if your life is, you know, kind of on the sad side, we totally understand. See you. Don't want to be you because I'm in New York, and that's the way it's going to stay. Peace.
Yeah.